Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk, and thanks for tuning in. As always, welcome back, and welcome to the new subscribers who I have had some join in the recent past. I'll talk about that on Sunday on the coffee talk, but we have a new subscriber here, Gobi, who I believe is on the EU cluster, and he sent in a replay of a Centurion 5-1. I have one other Centurion 5-1 replay somewhere on the channel, but I don't feature it very much, and I don't actually happen to own this. So this will be a good one for those of you who might be thinking about buying it if it ever shows back up in the shop, which it will, of course. There seems to be a lot of things showing up in the shop. We'll talk about that on Sunday. But anyway, he is here on, what is this place called? Redshire, down in the south on the spawn, and he's headed over to the west side. Well, one other reason why I'm going to feature this, not only is it a Centurion 5-1, which we do not see a whole bunch of, it is also a battle that he's going to go over to the west side on this map, Redshire, which I rarely do. Now, typically I talk about critical terrain. I consider the east side and the center to be the most important spots on this map. I will concede that the west does need to be covered and watched so you don't get completely flanked, but that becomes a secondary move, and I typically myself don't do secondary moves. However, sometimes, as I've talked about also in the past, you analyze the situation, you take a look at the capabilities of your tank, and you choose to go someplace like this over on the west. So we're going to watch how Gobi works the west side, and it is pretty enlightening because he does a pretty nice job. One of the great strengths of this Centurion is the turret's kind of ridiculous. Now, I don't say ridiculous as in it's OP and it shouldn't be. It's just very strong. As we are about to find out, Gobi is going to frustrate the living snot out of multiple enemies, and he and the standard B, a tier 9 and tier 8 medium, are going to give these guys over here all the trouble they can stand. So what's happened? We have the standard heavies have gone over with the support of a T-69 onto the east side. But what ends up happening on the west side is there are more tanks invested by the enemy over here than typical. You've got a Skoda, a 5120, a Pantera, a Low, the requisite snipers up on the north part of the middle hill, and then of course Gobi and his standard B friend have their snipers. So that makes it difficult to push into the castle from either side. Although there are walls there, there are holes in places where they can snipe. So there are definitely a few spots where you can hang out and not be shot, and it looks like Gobi is attempting that right now. Now he's blocked 560, he's only done 241, and he has traded some hit points. One thing I'll say about this position, Gobi, is you may have wanted to be a little bit further down so that when you came up and over to get your shot right there, you're not exposing any of your hole. There you go, and that's kind of it. The Lows helped you though because he's moved back, which has decreased his angle and made it harder for him to get down to your hole. But you can see that Gobi's looking to the right. He is aware that if there are people on that hill right there, when he moves forward into this little open area, he is exposed to them. But they get pushed back by his own teammates, and that helps both him and the standard B get in position. Now he's going to look to get up under. Guy just moves just in time. Otherwise that shot would have been nicely in there, probably tracked and damaged the Low. So he's got a good idea of where he wants to aim for sure. There's one right there. Very accurate gun on the Centurion 5-1, which is one of the really nice, again, just a little late. That guy's probably got a pretty good repair crew in there because he's repairing very quickly. So he's losing pretty badly to Gobi, but he's not really to Gobdi. Losing pretty bad to Gobi. So he becomes uninterested in poking out anymore. And one of the unwise things that Low was doing is he was poking his front armor out and not side scraping, which the Low was pretty decent at. But still, there's a 5120, a Skoda T50, and a Pantera. That's 3 autoloaders with a lot of juice. And as usual, teams are reluctant to push and take other tanks out. Standard B and Gobi are damaged, so he's going to go ahead and investigate a different spot. I like that shot. Probably didn't hit him in there, but that's where he's last seen if he did happen to stop in that bush. And there was no other shots available. There we go. We come up there and we get the Pantera. That's something I talk about a lot. Now you also notice he's got to be very careful here. And one thing he's doing, you can take a look at the line of his gun, and you can see that he is exposing a little bit of his hole right there. Pantera misses. So again, Gobi, if you work lower down that hill and poke up less of your turret, you might find that it works out a little better. Nicely aimed shot, but bounces. That's unfortunate. The front of the 5120 turret is not especially thick, but it is kind of crazily angled, and there are a few goofy angles. He eats a shot, eats another shot, and it looks like the T-50 is out, and that is very fortunate for Gobi. The T-50 ran out of shells and was not able to finish him off. If he didn't run out of shells, he was probably thinking he needed to hide, so he didn't get shot exactly like he got shot. But either way, he's dead, and Gobi is hanging on with 1,360 blocked. Think about 1,360 blocked, or any blocked damage. It's like extra lives in this game. You don't want to go out and look to take the damage to prove you have the extra life, but if you make a mistake or trade poorly, or you just need to trade well and lose a few hit points to do so, that's extra life that you have. 1,400 hit points on Gobi's tank. This is a great shot. Just takes this 5120 down. 1,400 hit points on Gobi's tank with 1,360 block means he essentially brought another Centurion 5-1 with him. Obviously not the gun. This is also another great... Oh, guy's just looking for a shot and just couldn't quite get down there on Gobi before he ends up killing him. And like I said, it's like carrying another Centurion 5-1 with you. Obviously you don't have the extra gun with you, but you've got the extra life. And that was all nicely done by Gobi down on the west side. That is a pretty good clinic. Just a few little quibbles I would have with the way he did it right there. It's things that everybody would do trying to fight a battle like that dynamically. Nice shot right there as well. Good SA that guy was your next hit points to shoot. And like I was saying over on the west side, about as well played over there considering the situation as you could do. One of the great news stories for Gobi right there, though, is the artillery did not get interested in him. He spent a lot of time right there on that ramp. It's not an easy shot, but if they're hanging out back here, they can reach down and blap into this little ramp right here. But there was only one. Was there? Or was there two? Hold the phone. There was two. Holy cow. So for whatever reason, they did not get interested in Gobi. And guess where they were interested? I can almost guarantee they were looking over here, especially early when the fight over on the east side was happening. That's where artillery tends to focus fire because it is more difficult for them to get shots into the castle depending on where they are deployed up here in the northwest corner or even over here in the northeast corner. It can be difficult to get shots on them, so they probably just never noticed that Gobi was hanging out on that ramp. However, if they do, if you're over there and you're on that ramp and they start noticing you, you definitely have to either disappear or slightly shift one way or the other and try to protect yourself with the castle walls right there. Otherwise, you're going to get blapped and blapped. But nice job, Gobi. Thanks for sending that in. Good to see another player that was well played right there. 2 kills, 1,823 damage, 1,360 blocked in a tier 8, in a tier 9 and 8 game. Is pretty nice with 1,100 assists thrown on top. Good game overall, Gobi. Thanks, and we will see you.